Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the regular meeting of Osoyoos Town Council, Monday, August the 15th, 2:00 p.m. in Council Chambers. First item up would be the adoption of minutes. We're looking at minutes from the Committee of the Whole from July the 18th and regular open minutes from July the 18th. Is there any comments on those, please? Hearing none, we'll move to adopt those by consensus. Those same minutes did trigger business arising. There wasn't a mistake in the minutes, but there's a bit of a confusion about a bidding process here in town. And Mr. Jim Zackel, our acting CAO, has a letter from Mr. Barry Romanko, our CAO, just looking for some clarification on this, and I have a couple comments to make after that. Mr. Zackel, please.
Thank you, Mayor Wells. So this email came from Mr. Romanko, our CAO. There's a clarification on the report provided to Council by the administration that outlined the contractors who bid on the exterior painting of the Sonora Centre. Progress painting location was described as North Vancouver, as was presented by their company letterhead. This company is an Osoyoos business with a regional business license. Barry Romanko.
Thank you, and I'll just add a bit of a comment on that. It was a bit unfortunate that it came through with an error. It wasn't an error. It was a North Vancouver letterhead, but it is an Osoyoos firm, and Councillor Rhodes had made a comment about an Osoyoos bidder and being awarded and that, and there was just some confusion out there because of the letterhead. But it is an Osoyoos firm so we had two bidders on that, and of course that contract was awarded, and as I understand it, the job is just about completed. So just trying to clear the air a bit there. Is there any late items that were arising? No late items. That'll bring us into delegations, and the first one up is Mr. Cy Murseli. And Cy, this time you don't have to give your name or your address.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and the Council. One more year, 365 days. We are back on the track for my and our hero, Terry Fox run. As Mr. Mayor and Councillors, you are aware that all year around, every September, this September will be 18th on Sunday in the front of Sonora Centre. Just before a few statistics, because Terry Fox Foundation, it's a private funded, it doesn't belong to any government organizations, and 85 cents in every dollar raised goes to the cancer research. To date, Terry Fox Foundation has raised over $550 million around the world. It's a good purpose, good reason, and it's worth. As I said, Mr. Mayor and Councillors, Sunday, September 18th, registration will be between 8:30 a.m. and 9 a.m. in the front of Sonora Community Centers. Loops of 1 kilometer, 2, 5, and 10 kilometers. It's totally accessible for everyone. Walk, run, wheel, or ride, for all ages and abilities. This is my 30th wonderful years being in our country, Canada, and little town of Osoyoos, which is in my heart, always was, always will be. I've been running 30 years for Terry Fox Run. As my tradition, go back and forth from here to Oroville, outskirts of Oroville, run and walk. This time I'm sure I'm going to be more running than walking. I'm prepared for it. If anybody else would like to join, to follow me to the United States and back, please bring your passports. As well, Mr. Mayor, thank you for all this year for supporting. You did all this year participate. Michael Ryan, Councillor, I hope this year complete town hall and will be on the front of Sonora Center. As well, I'm seizing this opportunity to invite our excellent neighbors, Chief Clarence Lee, Osoyoos Indian Band members, as well as other persons, to join us together. Hopefully we can beat this cancer, which is disease, and hopefully. As I am hoping, Mr. Mayor and Councillors, that you always supported this event by declaring Terry Fox Week, September 11th, September 18th. Would be nice if it was any banners hanging on the main street, but we couldn't. Hopefully town maybe can do something. I'm not asking any donations, because this will be traditionally for good. As this is just for one clarification, all this year I will be going door to door, business to business, collecting money. No one else collects except me. It's all tax deductible. Please, at home, if you are watching, do not give to anybody else who will be professing that they are canvassing for Terry Fox organization. Only Murseli. Last year I did over $5,500. I'm hoping this time more. So, if you have any questions, Mr. Mayor and Councillor, thanks for your support, because our community is well represented. Late in September 28th, I bet it's October or September, schools does it. So we did collect it altogether over $8,000 from our community. And thank you for this opportunity and your support.
Thank you, Mr. Murseli. That's very admirable of you. Is there any questions from council? Congratulations. It's great to have you here once again. I don't know if we would have time for a banner, but I think we could entertain maybe looking at a banner. I think a banner for Terry Fox Week would be great. If you contact me later, maybe we could set up the proclamation date this week sometime.
Both.
And that we'll take it from there. And I'm sure council wishes would be to proclaim that week. So once again, we'll see you on Sunday the 18th, and that'll be get a good start and then have a rest, because that's also the opening reception for the Osoyoos Lake Water Science Forum in the afternoon side. So I'm sure you'll be there too.
No promises.
No promises, okay.
Mr. Mayor, after 32.4 kilometers, I need a rest.
You're having your feet up, are you? Thanks, Mr. Murseli.
Thank you.
Any questions? Anything further? No. Okay, thank you. Next delegation is Jurgen Reinhards on behalf of the Osoyoos Sailing Club, and I believe there's a couple of requests for Mr. Reinhards to make. Just one? Okay.
I think it's one. Mr. Mayor, council members, administration, like last year, we're again ready for our fall regatta at the sailing club. And we're asking again this year for a special event parking to allow some sailing groups that come from out of town to park some of the motorhomes or trailers on our leased portion of the land. We are not encroaching on the parking lot as it is, as we did last year. We stay in our confined area. Last year I gave a more extensive explanation of our parking and what we're doing there, and there seemed to have been an understanding that we are parking on the town property parking lot, having a bonfire and behaving rowdily, which, of course, as everybody would know that has come down to see us while we were having our regatta, that's not the case. We are bringing 2 sailing club crews from Kelowna, the Kelowna Yacht Club and the Kelowna Sailing Club. They bring some of the kids with them. Kids are getting older now. They should be around 15, 16. They will be supervised by their parents. They will be supervised by us. The majority of the adults that are coming will be staying at the hotel. So there was a problem last year saying that we are taking away businesses from campgrounds or the motels, and that's not the case. And as I stated before, we or the town itself has never had complaints that we have taken away businesses. So again, I'm asking you to take in consideration that we would like to continue this regatta in the same fashion that we can park there, like we have done over the last 40 years. And we're trying to be good neighbors in that particular area. And we're all quiet. We're not doing anything that's out of the ordinary. And I'm just trying to confirm that, yes, I can park again. I can notify the people that are coming with their trailers. Yes, you can, or no, you cannot. Either they come or they won't. Some have expressed the feeling last year that if we cannot park on the lease portion of our lease land, then they may not be willing to come. Because some, they come from the island, they come from Alberta, and things like that. So that's all I can say this time. Otherwise, it's going to be a repeat as from last year, and you might get bored with repetitious.
Thank you, Reinhards. And I guess living right above it there, I think maybe we should clarify the numbers we're talking about. If there's 3 or 4, I don't see any more than that on any given year that are down there taking advantage of that.
Well, we have, I would say there's probably 5, maximum 6.
Okay.
That's all the space that I'm going to allow, because we need parking for cars as well, and I don't want them to park on the parking lot. Now, also, can I add? There was some, in the letter that I received last year, it was said that we are setting a bad example parking in parkland, because the tourists come and they see that, oh, there's camping available, or other people come and say there's camping and trailer parking available, and that a large number of tourists would take advantage of the situation. But that is not the case. I've never seen anybody taking advantage of that. There are some people at times that come and park overnight, but they leave early in the morning. They have nothing to do with that. It should be then the town bylaw officers that come around and should notify those people that they can park. Everybody that will park on our premises will get a sign in their window, and it says LOSC, Lake Osoyoos Sailing Club, parking only. That's it. So I hope you consider. And last year I asked that this would be, that I wouldn't have to do this every year, that it could be an ongoing permission, as it has been. Then it just came up in the last 2 years that we have to reapply all the time. Previous to that, we just informed the town out of courtesy, and it was always accepted. So.
Okay. Well, maybe we can deal with that too. I believe I have a question, Councillor.
I do. Thank you very much. I do support the continuing of you having your overnight parking there during the regatta. And I know it's not that many, and I know you're all very careful. I am noticing that that this is not on our agenda for a motion, and our next meeting is September 5th, which is just 4 days before. So
I'm I'm fully entertaining that motion right now.
Okay, thank you. Then I will, can I make a motion?
You certainly may.
Then I will make a motion that, well, whatever the motion was last year, that the Osoyoos Sailing Club be permitted to have overnight dry camping on their leased lands during the period of your regatta.
Okay, now,
Or
yes, last year's motion was resolve the council allow the dryland capping for an additional year. And could I get an addition to that, that staff be instructed to look at putting this in for longer term basis?
I would like to put that in a motion because last year it was a suggestion, and here we are again. So I would like to make it part of the motion that that staff come back with a report to council to consider this as an ongoing.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And that's seconded by Councillor Cronmiller. Further discussion? Councillor Ryan,
Yes,
please.
I guess really just a question to the Commodore, if you could. We're kind of in a state of flux there still, and there will be some work done. And I know that some of your spaces on the north side of your clubhouse are occupied now by the building contractors.
Right.
So.
That's not interfere. There's one spot that's available if I want to put a trailer there. I don't want to really put one there. It is too visible. I like to have them on the other side of the building.
On the south side, yes.
If I can at all do that, I will keep that spot free. So that's not my intent.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Looks like you're off for this year for sure, and we'll get that report from staff and see if we can look at a longer-term solution for you.
Thank you very much for your consideration.
Thank you. Our third delegation for this afternoon is Delight Cowan from the Osoyoos Baptist Church Youth Group. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. Yes, I'm here. I'm Delight Cowan from the Osoyoos Baptist Youth Group, but I'm really here on behalf of the Kelowna Willow Park Community Church. He's asked me to step here because I'm here to come and speak to you about the community celebration that they would like to hold at the Gyro Park. And I have
Thank you.
Yep. So it's something we would like to ask you to allow us to have at the Gyro Park bandshell and area here in Osoyoos on September 25th. It's a Sunday. And for the entertainment to begin at 5 p.m. And the Willow Park Community Church has, as you see, a full evening of entertainment. And to start, it basically, as you see on the poster, everything's in order, pretty much of how the evening would unfold. They would like to host a free barbecue to the community, and they will be prepared to serve as many, I believe it's hot dogs and hamburgers as needed for whoever arrives. And that starts at 5 p.m. And they will have a kids' carnival set up. Pretty much what I was told is the big bouncy air, I don't know, ball crawl type of, for the children to enjoy and just have fun. And they also have a wake pilot to show some stunts and on the lake for entertainment for the people to watch. And he's agreed to do that. And after that, they've asked in the bandshell for Incomeep drummers to come and give a brief history of the native history. And then they're going to play some music. The drummers will entertain the crowd. And, I don't know if he's asked you yet, but he had mentioned that they'd like to ask the mayor and the council to be there and to speak. Has he asked you yet?
Sure.
I was
Not
told.
yet, no.
Not yet, but it's something he would like to do as well. And when I say he, I mean Joel Fedderson. He's the youth, hired youth counselor and leader at Willow Park Community Church. And then the big concert will be the big, finale of the evening. I don't know if you're familiar with Starfield or not.
No, I'm
Concert, no. I asked my son, I said today when I was driving him to work at McDonald's, I said, what would you say, what kind of concert is this? How would you put it into words? And he said, probably soft rock. Really easy listening, enjoyable family type of concert.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for your presentation. We probably have some questions here from council. I guess I'll open with the first one. So is it 9 a.m. to 11 p.m.? Is that what we're looking at? Because there's a report here that talks about 9 a.m. and you were talking 5 p.m. to 11 p.m.
No.
But there's other functions in the park too. So.
Oh, well. This particular event with all these different, this entertainment would start at 5 p.m. like your poster says, and probably wrapping up around 9 p.m. It is a school night. And I think everything should unfold pretty much and be finished by 9 p.m.
Okay, thank you. Council, please. Councillor Chadsey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Delight, will this be a separate event application to the one that Casey completed the end of June? Or is this the same?
Should be the same one.
Okay. Okay. As it says here that on June 27th, Casey completed or made application to hold a concert.
Right.
Okay.
That is
so it will be the same one.
They've asked the youth leaders, Casey is the youth leader of his church, and they've just asked us all to get on board and to, get as many volunteers and churches involved. And that's also why it says Oliver and Osoyoos celebration, even from Oliver. They just encouraging a lot of participation from different churches. So it is Casey they've asked.
Does Oliver have a gyro bandshell?
I don't.
Oh, because this says Oliver and Osoyoos Community Celebration.
Yeah.
Then it just says gyro bandshell.
Yeah, I know it's for our gyro bandshell because I was the one that had mentioned, how about gyro in Osoyoos?
I hope everyone understands that it's Osoyoos gyro bandshell and not Oliver.
Thank you. I will check that out. I don't know what their bandshell is called.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Councillor Rhodes.
In addition to that, I think there's some confusion about the dates as well. The application says the 27th, so it
really
is definitely the 25th.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I received this from Joel himself this morning, or actually last night. So I
other than the times and the dates, we're right on track.
Yeah, something happened there.
So this information is correct, the one that's on here?
Everything on there is the latest and is the correct information. I spoke to him last night.
Great, and it's great to have you here because you get the televised portion of it, and this is the start of getting the information out there for the event. So that's great. Councillor Ryan, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, Delight, I think this sounds like a wonderful activity, and I'm always glad to see activities at the bandshell. It's a beautiful place and all in a nice grassy area where people can sit or listen. In the application, they mentioned that some of the young people would be going throughout the town doing random acts of kindness. You want to say something about that? Is that still part of the plan, or?
Well, there's a bit of a disconnect there, I guess. am not familiar with that part. We are all doing, have been asked to help in different areas, and if Casey was here, I'm sure he could speak to that. But I've been asked just strictly to come in and speak to you, and then I'm in charge of advertisement.
Okay, so that's possibly, as you say,
I'll
maybe
ask about that one.
maybe his area of
Yeah.
responsibility. Good. Okay. Well,
So sorry about
thank you.
Great. I think we can roll this right into recommendation and resolution. Councillor Rhodes.
I'll make that recommendation, and please jump in if I get the dates and times, but it is Sunday, September 25th, and I'll recommend, or make a motion to recommend that we approve that application.
Thank you.
And Councillor Ryan, seconder. Any further discussion on that? Councillor Rhodes, please.
Just curious, do we have to define the time on that date? Because there is some confusion about the times as well.
The only confusion that was in the report, where it was one of the options that was referencing September 27th. In fact, it is September 25th. So if you're accepting the application as presented itself, it's showing from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m.
That pretty much covers it, I guess.
Okay. Anything else? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. I will be there, and I'm sure as many councillors are available will be down there. I think it's a great project for the town, and it's that September date. You know, we're getting into the real fall season there, so it'll be one of our later outdoor activities. Congratulations. I hope it goes well.
Thank you so much.
Okay, next item of business, some water accounts in the amount of $48,107.98 for approval. Councillor Loranjo. So moved, and the seconder, Councillor Rhodes. All in favor? Oh, sorry.
I have a question. Yes, I know we usually approve these, but I guess I was just astonished at the amount of electricity that is used, and I wondered if either Councillor Loranjo or Mr. Zacco could give me a bit of an idea as to. Presumably, we're running pumps and all kinds of things, but I mean, $40,000 plus in electricity. I mean, we're in the wrong business. We should be buying shares in Fortis.
Pretty big units in there, a lot of power.
Yeah.
It's been hot.
Has there been any thought given to running those pumps through some kind of self-generated power? Through solar power or some other.
One thing that they do is they'll speed up and slow down depending on the demand of the water that's going out. But to go to solar power, they're pretty big units. It'll take some pretty big solar panels to do the job.
To generate the electricity. Good. Okay. I've just see these all the time, and I thought, wow, that's a lot of power.
A lot of that power is. Years ago, we used to have the ditch that come by gravity. But then, most of the people in them days, they used ditch irrigation, so it was all gravity. But everybody has switched to sprinklers and the misters now and everything else, and so the power is still be used, but they used more by the irrigation district than it was before. It was by the growers themselves, because they would get the water by gravity to their farms. But then it would have to be pumped out to make the sprinklers go. So it's just switched from one packet to the other packet, but it's still going to come out of the farmers, from the growers' packet anyhow, in the long run.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Councillor Loranjo. Mr. Zacco, did you have any additional comment on?
No, Mr. Loranjo is correct. Basically, it's irrigation season in our water district area, so all the orchardists, vineyards, requiring water flow.
Okay. Thank you. So that was I'll have the question on that. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Next item up is correspondence. There's a letter from the Mayor Cress Farrow from the town of Smithers regarding the police funding issue. Of course, this issue never goes away. And when we are sitting here at sub 5,000, it's always an issue with the town of Osoyoos. What are our council's wishes on this? Just a motion to receive. Councillor Cronmiller.
Thank you,
Motion
Mr. Mayor.
Receive. Councillor Rhodes. Any discussion on this? Here we go again. Councillor Ryan.
Well, because they are just barely over 5,000, I think they were suggesting that rates, uniform tax rates, should apply to all residents of BC rather than having this, these segregated levels. And so I think I think this speaks to us as a community about to step over that threshold. And I'm sure we'll keep this in mind as we go to the UBCM, because this will be obviously another topic for our discussion and perhaps even some resolutions on the matter.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Cronmiller.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. What it brings to mind for me, the topic dear to our hearts, is Mr. Mayor, you and I have talked about the district municipality and what that might mean, and where we talk about our small community, and here it talks about the community of Smithers, and what about what's outside of that community and how the payments are shared. So certainly it's something that we bear in mind for future reference when we're talking about district municipalities to our provincial counterparts.
And to that end, whenever I'm talking to any cabinet ministers or anyone out there, Solicitor General, I really make the point that we feel that this is a flawed process. The policing formula is completely flawed. Everyone uses the police, whether you live in Okanagan Falls or Headley or Penticton, and that funding should be coming on a provincial level, and everybody should be paying for that service. To have these artificial barriers at 5,000, 15,000, it's really not fair. If you do have a look at the letter from Smithers in the agenda, it really causes financial hardship and impact when you do cross over. We've had our census done, so I believe it takes. When do we get those results? Next spring?
About February of next year.
About February. So I guess they want to get us the figures in time for tax and budget implications in case you do cross. But it's a significant amount of money for a small community to have to start. You're starting to pull things back that you wanted to do to improve your town, to improve your infrastructure. You have to take some of those items back to be able to hit this artificially imposed number on the policing costs. So anytime I get an opportunity, I take that message out there that the process is not right. We'll just keep working on it. Maybe one day we'll get where it should be. Anyway, we have a motion to receive. All in favor? Opposed? Under bylaws, the Good Neighbor Bylaw 1277, 2011, for third reading as amended. I have a report from Director of Corporate Services, Ms. Van Vienen.
Thank you. The Good Neighbor Bylaw 1277 was given second and third readings on April the 4th. We had to send it to the Ministry of Health and Ministry of Transportation for approval. It was brought back to Council to be reread a third time as amended on June the 20th to implement some amendments that the Ministry of Health had requested. Since that time, we have finally heard back from Ministry of Transportation. I've been told that the delay was the approval could not be given at the local level. It had to be given through Victoria, through the Deputy Minister's office. And that has taken this 4-month period, and they have now come back with a requested change. I had spoken to our contact in Penticton, and he was going to ask them if they were satisfied with the wording we currently have in the bylaw that pretty much excludes the Ministry of Transportation from the noise aspect of it, but they're not comfortable with that. They did not get back to me. So what they are asking is that, let me just get the wording. They are asking that the Ministry of Transportation, the Ministry of Health, and the Ministry of Transportation for approval. It was brought back to Council to be reread a third time as amended on June the 20th to implement some amendments that the Ministry of Health had requested. Since that time, we have finally heard back from Ministry of Transportation. I've been told that the delay was the approval could not be given at the local level. It had to be given through Victoria, through the Deputy Minister's office. And that has taken this 4-month period, and they have now come back with a requested change. I had spoken to our contact in Penticton, and he was going to ask them if they were satisfied with the wording we currently have in the bylaw that the suggested wording be changed in section 8.4 to read, despite anything contained in the bylaw, no person shall be guilty of an infraction of this part, while they want a new section H added that says performing regular highway maintenance, construction, reconstruction, and rehabilitation activities authorized by the Ministry of Transportation and Infrastructure, conducted by its employees, authorized representatives, agents, contractors, and subcontractors. That's what they're asking for. Staff still feel that the current wording that excludes anything that during an emergency or for a public purpose or in furtherance of the public interest does exclude the Ministry of Transportation. We would not go after them if they were making noise to get their work done. I have not heard anything back. To avoid further delays, we can implement this requested wording change, or we can hold out and say, no, we're satisfied that our Section B currently excludes them. It's Council's wishes. We want to get this bylaw passed so that we can start enforcing certain areas of the bylaw. And I had asked for assurance that if Council made this change, that they would get back to us as soon as possible with approvals, and I had not got that assurance back from them as well.
Gee, I just thought I used the word flawed process in the last item. Here we go again. This is, and when you look at what the ministry's asking for, we still have timelines within our town on when you can start doing construction. This would look to absolve them of the time frame that every other contractor has to apply to. Emergency is one thing, but we don't need 724 out there doing road work or something. So, Council, please. Councilor Ryan.
Well, before I make a motion, if I may ask a question, because I'd like to expedite this as much as possible, but on the other hand, there's been a sort of a tsunami of posters on lighting standards recently in the last month, and if we're going to delay this, I would like to make sure that that if we have to make some amendment to it, that we might make any other necessary one. So I have a question really for our director, and that is that in item 4.1 of this under littering, if you could give me an interpretation as to whether 4.1b, which says no person shall stamp, paint, post, affix, or otherwise place or distribute any bill, poster, notice, or advertisement on any public property without first having obtained written permission from the town, whether that will apply to the street light posts.
Street light posts, yes.
Good.
Being put on vehicles, no. And I know that has also been an issue. This does not cover vehicles,
Okay.
just street lights and buildings and whatnot that belong
Right.
to the town.
Anything that is town property. And I guess if it's power poles, because that's a private company, that is private property then, eh?
I believe that there's going to be something in the sign bylaw. I'm not sure exactly of the wording that will cover some of that. And we do have sections in our new parks bylaw that cover anything being distributed in the parks.
Right.
So anything that's on anything in the parks can be taken down.
Good. Well, since our sign bylaw hasn't come before us in its final form yet, I just want to make sure that at least things that are on the light standards, we can go after them. So in that case, I would be willing to expedite this by bowing to our masters in Victoria and saying that we would approve their change and give it an amended third reading, I guess.
You, Councilor Rhodes.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any Councilor Rhodes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, as everyone knows, we get these reports a few days in advance, and this was the first one that I paused on and read, and I want to make a little bit of a comment, and I know we're going to deal with this at the UBCM, I hope. This is actually deplorable that a ministry would hold up such a great bylaw in our community. I just find it inconceivable that they would even, what boils down to really a technicality. It's not even an issue or a major change that they're requesting. And, the whole, well, I guess Mayor Wells put it best. It's a flawed system, and You know, it kind of, it really does upset me because a lot of hard work went into this bylaw. It's filled with common sense and logic and a really good thing for our community. And to have it held up now, and once again, I mean, we could be looking at another delay, even in spite of the fact that we're capitulating on this a little bit. We could be looking at another 4 or 5 months while they get around to looking at the amendment that they basically asked us to make on it. And I just find the whole thing deplorable, and there has to be some kind of a circumstance that allows us to move forward with these things much faster than the ministry approval route that we always have to go.
Well stated. Further, Councillor Chadsey?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I absolutely support that. And I don't think we should wait around to find out whether or not this was their final comment or just one of their comments. We sent it to them for comment. This came back. I think we should make a very valid assumption that that's the only comment they had, and I think we should proceed. And I believe that if I didn't bring this up with the Interior Health, then I wished I had. Is there any possible way that at the end of the statements that are required by the different ministries, that there can be a little notation? For example, Interior Health made us change some wording, that we could put Interior Health statement, and this would be MOT statement. Something like that, so that we know that the portions of this bylaw, should it ever happen that a council needs to make an amendment, that we would know what wording was actually insisted upon by the different ministries versus our own bylaw.
Yeah, no, we wouldn't put it in the bylaw, but we do keep the notes on the file, and those notes are kept forever with the copy of the bylaw that says what their comments were. So anytime we do an amendment, we would pull those out and take a look and see what they were asking for at the time.
So that would sustain this bylaw for the next 10 years?
They would stay with this, yes, with this comments
okay.
in the file, not with the original bylaw, but in the file that the working file.
Okay.
Yes.
Thanks.
Councillor Cromwell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to turn in my 2 cents on this one, I just thinking there's a few sayings that you could use along the way, such as when I think of you can't fight City Hall, can't fight the provincial government. You know, we're a small fish in the big sea, and that's why some of these things get delayed. I'm sure if it was a big city of Kelowna, it would get a lot more recognition in a big hurry than us. So it's really unfortunate that it takes so long to get a few words straightened around and get it back to us. And I know I spoke on that earlier one previous council meeting about the slowness of government. And this is just a prime example of that. And somebody could have read this and sent it back to us in 5 minutes, and we'd all been happy. So that's my 2 cents worth on this one. Let's move it on.
Everyone's had their share and fill. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. We were moving ahead, I think.
I hope.
Well, we hope, right? Okay, next item of business. Oh, gee, this is a yearly occurrence. It's one of our, not one of my favorite moments, and this is the people that got dinged for arrears on their property taxes. And I've been on council. I guess this is my 6th time going through property taxes in arrears. It really bothers me. I don't know what you can do. We do everything in our power to get that message out there about people paying their taxes. And this year we have 4 individuals who have appealed their assessments. Mr. Zach, will you have the report on that, please?
Yes, Mr. It's so there's a total of 5 properties, 4 property owners that are requesting the penalties waived on their property taxes. The first one for Miss McKibben, she paid her taxes on the 7th of July. The Haglunds and Dugans, they paid their taxes on the 8th of July. The Armstrongs paid on the August 3rd, and the Mateys on July 19th. All of these property owners were late getting their property taxes payment into us, and the recommendations to deny the request to waive the penalties.
Okay, thank you. Council, please. Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I'll make a motion to deny the request to waive the penalties on the above noted properties, and that would be the list that was read off by Director Zackel.
And seconder, Councillor Ryan. Any further discussion on this? Councillor Ryan.
Well, as you said, Mr. Mayor, it's regrettable, and in fact, when I read these, they were certainly heartfelt letters. I looked at the last 2 years of taxes and our forms, and I realized that at this year, at the bottom of our tax in red lettering is indicating as to how you can pay, and then and also on the back of this year's and on the front of previous years, it very clearly says that a postmark is not acceptable. And so what I'd like to do, I'd like to say to people, please use this new tax prepayment plan that we are putting into effect for next year. You can pay on a monthly basis, 10 payments in a year, or use telebanking, something that is more reliable and expeditious than Canada Post. So please do that. I regret that we can't accept your late payment, but please use all these options that we're providing you.
Thank you. Councillor Cromiller.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to follow up on Councillor Ryan and the Mayor and yourself, is that 6 years I've been sitting here watching this, and each year we've come up with new things to help and assist and to get the point across to pay your taxes in time. And don't trust the mail, right, is the bottom line. I sent for a package to tell a little story, what the heck. On the 19th of July, and it took 3 weeks to come in the mail to my house. Meanwhile, I'm sending emails to the company complaining because I haven't received it yet. And it's not fair, so don't trust the mail. There are other options, use them, and we'd be glad to accept your money beforehand, and then there is no penalty. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything further? Councillor Chadsey, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I too support the motion, but I do feel very bad for each of the individuals. I think in their own right, all of their circumstances are a bit different, and I don't think any one of them consciously set out to miss the deadline. There were extenuating circumstances this year with a postal strike, and I'm sure that didn't help. And one person kind of got caught up, it would appear, in the purchase of some property. But as much as they are not the fault or of the individuals, council just cannot go back and take the penalty away. First of all, we would have to change a bylaw to allow a council to do that. And as Councillor Ryan and Councillor Cronmiller said, there are so many ways to pay. And really, you should not be waiting until the last week to consider how you're going to pay your taxes. And that's true whether there's a postal strike or not. When your tax notice comes out in May, that's when you should be making the decision on how you are going to pay the taxes. And there's many ways to do it with that money not coming out of your personal account until the last day that the taxes are due. So I'm sorry that we can't help the people who receive the penalty, but just please everyone put this in your back pocket for next year and take advantage of all the ways you can pay in advance.
Thank you. Is there anything further from council? Hearing none. All in favor? Opposed? That motion has passed. Aye. Any back on, please? That brings us to business 2, report on the Restorative Justice Program from Corporate Services.
Thank you. At the May 2nd, 2011 Committee of the Whole meeting, Terry Kolaski, the Restorative Justice Coordinator, and Staff Sergeant Kurt Lazinski made a presentation regarding the Restorative Justice Program. This program is already running in Oliver, Princeton, Penticton, and Summerland, and the purpose of the program has been designed to take first offenders that have minimal contact with the RCMP and putting these individuals through, rather than putting them through a court system which could take months, it puts the victim and the offender together and allows them to have a dialogue to come to a consensus on how to repair the damage. It's a voluntary program, and both the victim and the offender must agree to participate. The program has been running in Penticton for about 5 years, with 85% to 90% of those who go through the program not reoffending. It is seen as a first step to rehabilitate, especially youth who are involved. The program is not suitable for serious crimes, but mostly first-time lower type N crimes. Oliver has been running the program for over a year now. It is done through a committee that was established by council and is chaired by, and at the time of this report, it was chaired by Councillor Schaefer, but I believe that has changed. 4 other community members, along with the RCMP representation, also sit on this committee, which meets periodically to ensure the program is running effectively. The program is community-driven and volunteer facilitators are needed. These facilitators are trained under the program and contribute about 10 hours per year. The community can receive funding from the Community Accountability Fund from the Solicitor General's office to run the program. If Osoyoos establishes a committee and program, the funds would be retained by the town, and the town would look after paying any costs through these funds. If the town is interested, Terry Kolaski must be notified and a committee set up and the process started. Since this could be a committee established by council, same as Oliver, it would be prudent to have a council member sit on the committee and possibly chair it through the first year at the very least. Implications on the committee could provide the community with a viable solution to dealing with smaller crimes and working with both victim and offender to resolve the damage. Organizationally, administering funds received from the province would have to be done through the finance department. And the budget, there should be able to run under the funding received by the province with no subsidization. So I think that when Terry Kolaski and Staff Sergeant Lazinski came to council, they were looking for some support in whether council wanted to proceed with establishing this type of group and seeing what kind of support there was. So there's 2 options that council advised them that the council is interested in establishing a restorative justice program in Osoyoos and then appointing a councillor to sit on that committee, or that council advised Terry Kolaski that there is no interest in establishing a restorative justice program in Osoyoos.
Okay, thank you. I see this as sort of two parts here, and I think on the part of the councillor appointment, I think any councillor that would like to be on it should submit a name. We'll deal with that after the fact. I'm sure there's 3 or 4 people that would like to do it. So I think rather than try to get that in as part of the motion and that, if you submit your name, or we can just do a round table here at the end of the motion. That information. Yeah, so we would look for the motion whether to proceed with this or not. Councillor Chadsey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will make a motion that council advise Terry Kolaski that council is interested in establishing a restorative justice program, and I will speak briefly to that.
Okay. Seconder, Councillor Ryan. Any further discussion on restorative justice?
Just that the CYC, the Child and Youth Council that I sit on, work with the restorative justice both in Penticton and in Oliver. And kind of were with Oliver and Councillor Terry Schaefer as he was going through the prep for it there. So they were quite excited about it because they knew in their different positions, like Ministry of Social Services, etc., the benefits to a community in having it. So I was glad to see Oliver get it.
Councillor Cromwell?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to comment that this program's been around for a number of years, and far too long, that this community hasn't had it. We should have put it in place a long time ago, and I know when I was a member of the RCMP here, that we spoke of this program at that time, and it just, for some reason, just never got going. So I'm really pleased to see that it's getting off the ground here, and that we can move ahead with it. I think it's an excellent program, and when we see the success rate, it's well worthwhile.
Great, great. Councillor Ryan, please.
Yes, I support this motion, and I think the success rate speaks for itself. I think it's very, very impressive, and I was touched when the presentation was first made, so I'm glad they've come back to us with this invitation.
Great, great. Anything further? All in favor? Opposed? Carried? Who's putting their name forward for the councillor? That would be Councillor Cronmiller. Councillor Ryan?
Yes.
Councillor
Absolutely.
Chadsey? Not you?
For once, yeah.
We'll get back to Terry Kolaski on that appointment. Work that out. Okay, that was restorative justice. The municipal ticketing procedures policy 2.4.3. Ms. Van Vienen, please.
Thank you. Council already approved municipal ticketing procedures policy 2.4.3 on November 21st, 2005. There has been some changes to the legislation late in 2010 that have had us look at some changes to our policies and how we deal with tickets, especially in getting them deemed. They don't get sent to the provincial courts now, we deem them ourselves. So there has been some significant changes, enough that this policy needed to be reviewed and replaced. So it's before council to look at and approve the amended municipal ticket procedure policy 2.4.3 as presented, or that return back to staff, or to not approve.
Okay, council, please. Councillor Rhodes.
I'll make a motion, option 1, that council approve the amended municipal ticket procedure policy 2.4.3 as presented.
And the seconder, Councillor Cronmiller. Discussion, please. Councillor Ryan.
Yeah, I had a couple of questions. I mean, obviously, quite a detailed procedure, but I was wondering, first of all, if payment could be made for something like this by electronic banking. I think it sort of assumes that you come in person or you mail it in. Has to be made.
Unfortunately, yes, that's the only way it can be done at this present time.
Okay, I see. And the other thing that struck me was that because you're going to put these things in numeric order, what happens if the person comes in and doesn't have their copy of the ticket?
We can find them.
You can still find them.
Yeah.
Okay.
We do have a filing system that we use, and we'll be able to locate them whether they have their ticket on them or not.
Okay,
yeah.
Good. Okay.
Anything further? Councillor Chadsey.
Thank you. For ticket A, it says for all other offenses other than traffic, the tickets are served immediately. What is the definition of immediately?
Okay, with the, I don't know if with the parking tickets, you would get a pink copy that you get on your windshield, because we don't know who owns the vehicle, so they get a pink copy first. And there is a blue copy of the ticket that is called the summons copy that is served on the owner of the vehicle after the 14-day period. So that is the blue copy, the summons copy. When there is an offense under any other bylaw, say noise, unsightly, littering, anything like that, we know who it is that is doing the offending, and we just write the ticket right out to under their name and address, and all that information is provided at the time, and they get the blue copy or summons copy delivered to them immediately.
So a noise in a house, if the party is at midnight, what is immediately?
They can be handed it right there at the party.
But could they be handed it the next day?
They can,
Okay,
yes.
so it isn't just immediately, it is
No, it
Okay.
can be delivered to them at a later date, as long as we have the date and time of the offense on the ticket.
Okay, thank you.
Anything further? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Business number 4, disabled access to town hall. Mr. Zackel, were you going to present that?
Yes, I can. We had a request by one of our taxpayers to look at improving our access at the town hall. So it's an email request from a citizen. The request does not note a deficiency in the access of the town hall. It is noted that staff provide assistance, patrons approximately 3 or 4 times a month. The requested doors were installed at the Sonora Center in 2 stages during the first renovation, and then at the time the library moved into the building. Contact was made with the installer, and it was determined that an approximate cost to do the installation of these doors would cost approximately $2,500. Funding can be found in contingency if council wishes to proceed with this. It would appear that sufficient header space is available above the door to provide for the opening mechanisms, and the power source for this would also be close. So some of the implications are for the community is community has a large number of seniors coming to the office that would benefit from this improvement. Organizationally, installation of the service would improve customer service and may result in fewer staff trips to assist customer entry. From a budget perspective, at the time of this report, there are no budget figures were available. So basically the options were option 1, to recognize that this is an important service and direct staff to make a priority for installation for this year. 2, to recognize that this is an important service and direct staff to make a priority for installation in the 2012 budget process. And 3, note as a non-priority item and continue with the status quo. So Mr. Romanko's recommendation is administration recommends option 1, that administration recognizes that it's an important community service, and although it wouldn't be considered an emergency capital project fund, but it can be made available.
Great, thanks, Mr. Zackel. I'd just like to note, when we're talking about municipal government and that not moving fast, this letter was sent on July 28th, and we're going to have a resolution here today, so I think we're moving along toot sweet on this. Councillor Cronmiller, Councillor Chadsey, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll move option 1,
Okay.
then I could speak to it.
Absolutely, and the seconder, Councillor Chadsey. Go ahead, Councillor Cronmiller.
Just I wanted to note that I walked up to the town hall for the last 12 years or 13 years I've lived here, and I always noticed the ramp. But you forget what it's like for other people that don't have all of the abilities to open a door, and you just forget that. And I'm really pleased that somebody brought it to our attention so that we won't forget anymore, and we'll get it done right away. And so I'm really in favor of having this done as soon as we can to improve access to our facility.
Thank you. And again, it was the letter that triggered it. There's a letter here from a member of the public, and that triggered the whole episode. So here we are within a month getting this door going. Councillor Chadsey, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, I actually am quite embarrassed. I can't believe that we don't already have one. It just seems to me that we have it in our other buildings, and how we just didn't think about it is I'm pretty embarrassed by it. So I absolutely support this motion, and I wish to thank the member of the community who brought it to our attention, and I, in my heart, I wished he didn't have to.
Okay, Councillor Ryan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I noted when I was looking at the offerings at the UBCM convention that one of the sessions is on age-friendly communities and making renovations and so on to that. And in fact, I think Councillor Chadsey has signed up for that. So we'll look for more ideas. One of the things that was brought to my attention by another resident, and I've begun some inquiries about this, is service to disabled persons at gas stations. many times you might have a person who's physically disabled and they aren't able to get out and pump their gas, and we don't have any stations here which are equipped traditionally to pump gas for you. And even getting the attention of the attendant inside the station is not easy. Everybody's, you put your card in and you do everything yourself. And so I think that this is something that council should be concerned about, and maybe we should ask our staff to do a little work on this, even if it was a matter of having some sort of an intercom at the level of a disabled driver as they drive in on one of the posts holding up the overhang. But that's another area, that you sort of take for granted. And I know some communities in the Lower Mainland require that when they have multiple stations with multiple sites, that they can't have all their sites self-serve. So I think that's something that we should put on our to-do list. I certainly got it on mine.
Okay, great. Thank you. Councilor Rhodes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, yeah, I support this motion wholeheartedly, and so I got to tell a little story too. In 2007, a good friend of mine was diagnosed with a MS, and it was causing him to have to use a wheelchair for the remainder of his life, and was going through some of the difficulties, and came here for a visit, and was saying, well, there's a lot of places that are not accessible and that kind of thing, and so we kind of walked around, and I thought we'd done a pretty good job in this town, and so I got the challenge, why don't you ride around in my chair for a day? And I thought, well, all right, that's okay with me. I don't know what you're going to do for the day, but I'll go and give it a try. Lasted about 40 minutes. The first half an hour was actually getting into the chair, feeling comfortable and being able to move around a little bit. But I went from my place of business up to Main Street, and just even attempting to go up and down the first curb was enough of a challenge for me to admit that there's insurmountable challenges in people that are forced into that kind of lifestyle. So yeah, I'm a little embarrassed that we don't have it here, and I apologize for it happening, but I'm hoping that after the vote that we're moving forward in a very positive way and fixing that difficulty here.
I wonder if we, going back to a previous council, I guess it was, and the Osoyoos Times editor was Chad, and I don't remember his last name, but he went out with that mobility challenge, and he lasted about 40 minutes. And I wonder if we couldn't get our town rated, because I've had other people that were wheelchair bound. They said it wasn't bad enough, but I wonder if we couldn't, through staff, find out if you can get your town rated. Maybe we should be picking off the top 3, top 5 conditions that are at the top of the list every year when we start doing our budgetary program. And I'm sure we could get it rated somehow. I'm sure that information is out there through a paraplegic association or whatever it is. But I think rather than just doing words here, let's take that, let's go so we're not being behind the ball. Let's get in front of the ball. Mm-hmm. So can we get that as part of this? Let me see if will this work as part of the motion or not?
Yeah, I think we could tie that on.
Okay. Okay, with instructions to staff to see if there's a rating system for our town. Okay, does that amendment work?
It works for me. I wouldn't mind if staff also just took a quick look around and make sure we don't have any other blatant things wrong in the public buildings.
You want to get the town hall done before we get the rating program in? Councillor Cronmiller is the mover of that motion. Is that all right?
Yes, I have no problem. I was just trying to figure out whether we should have 2 separate motions. Did it under one.
2 separate motions. Okay, let's go back. Let's go back to the original motion, which was to deal with the front entranceway at Town Hall. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Now I need a mover of the next motion. Councillor Cronmiller.
Certainly, I'd be happy to make a motion that we investigate, have staff investigate all of our buildings for their accessibility for people with physical disability of any sort, and also that we investigate the potential of having the whole town analyzed as to our ability for access for people with disability.
Excellent.
How's that?
Councillor Rhodes, seconder. Any further discussion? All in favor? Great. Thank you very much. Okay, business. Oh. Cron Miller Roads.
Thank you.
Okay. Under business 5, industrial park access. This brings a great deal of pleasure to me. This has been out here for a long time. Mr. Zackel, were you going to present? Or do you want me to?
If you wish, you're more than welcome. It's another one of Barry's reports for.
Okay, I will.
Fair enough.
This involves basically, I believe it's Okanagan Truck Service is the business. It's up in the, I would like to say it's in the industrial park, but it is not in the Buena Vista Industrial Park. It was sort of a standalone property, one of the first industrial developments up there before the industrial park actually started. And coming out of there, which was by approximately where the old drive-in used to be, there was access for trucks to exit. So they would be leaving the truck service center and doing a right turn only and heading down Highway 3 towards the Husky. So this informal approach was used by trucks and residents to access 115th Street east of the formal access into the industrial park. This access was removed this spring with the result that local business complained to the Ministry of Transportation that removal of the approach negatively affected business in the area. Ministry of Transportation has explored various options with us over the past several months. Attached is a new proposal that would link a new right-out lane off 115th Street onto the highway. Since this approach would be linking into our municipal street system, Transportation is seeking council approval to develop the new approach. The project would be totally funded by Transportation and may be removed if suitable improvements were to be completed by the town to improve the turning radius at the entrance to the industrial park at Strawberry Creek. The plan is to start construction immediately if council approval is provided. There was early consideration to have Transportation pay for a reconstruction of Strawberry Creek Road and the 115th Street corner to accommodate the turning radius problem and provide a permanent solution. This project was not approved by Transportation. No costs were given as to compare the cost of the two proposals. So without this access, when they dug it out, and actually it was 2 springs ago, we've been at this for a couple of years now, of the proprietor of OK Truck Service trying to get that road put back in. And with the big rigs coming down there, if they get into that Strawberry Creek and the 115th Street corner, they can't make it. There's a asphalt curb you can go up and see, and it's been demolished. They're close to dropping a wheel into that the other corner property there, which is both residence and industrial, which is allowed in that park. And it's really, really tight turning radiuses. They're crossing way over the center line to be able to get out onto the highway. There's been many, many problems with it. So this has been ongoing dialogue between the Ministry of Transportation, MLA Slater, Mr. Romanko, myself, and I'm sure council members, as they could be picked off. And we've been having this dialogue for a long time. And to the Ministry of Transportation's credit, they've moved from absolutely not no to paying for this. And we've had some great success stories with the local office of the Ministry of Transportation out of Kelowna. This would be some of the parking issues in front of Gelato, in front of the Watermark Hotel, some of the crosswalk items. This item here, and for the people to sort of this is a bit of a report out for the people that were also looking at the Highway 97 and the 67th Street crossing to the high school and the golf course. We're looking at improved pedestrian safety in that whole area, even possibly some form of walk lights out there. And they are working ahead and doing further investigative and planning stages in the Cottonwood Highway 3 as to moving into a traffic light over there. So while we can pick on some ministries, and I know this was the same one that held up our bylaw in Victoria, we are having great success on a local basis with the Ministry of Transportation. So I'll get back to the point, which was they're going to put in this right out only. So the trucks coming from OK Truck Service will be able to come down and just ease out onto Highway 3, and there'll be a acceleration lane put in there, and it's going to be really good. You won't be able to make a left turn off the highway into that, and I think there's some fairly obvious safety concerns about it, but we're well on the way to meeting what the proprietor of the business wanted, and through that process he had also engaged the Canadian Federation of Independent Business People. They were involved. We've been getting quite a bit of mail and letters from higher authorities on this whole program. So it's great to see this in front of council. Your desires, Councillor Rowe.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll move option 1 to provide approval, and I'd like to say a couple of words about that.
Great. And the seconder, Councillor Cronmiller. Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you. Well, in spite of my previous rant earlier, that is our privilege as a councillor. We can comment individually on these things. Good for the Ministry of Transport and Infrastructure to recognize this as being a difficult situation and stepping up to the plate and not only approving it but paying for it as well, which is a double good thing in their regard. And I am not going to apologize for my previous remarks.
Councillor Chadzi?
Thank you. I absolutely support this, and this has been going on for more than 10 years. This was going on before Casa del Lago was built, and that may have been the catalyst that started it going kind of the wrong way, because the residents started using that little pathway that the trucks were using. But yes, it's been going on a long time, and Highways always just stood firm and said it's not their issue. So kudos to them for finally realizing that it is their issue. So
great. Thanks, Councillor Chadzi. Councillor Cronmiller.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. From my recollection, it goes back to the days of the weigh scale, which is now a shopping center, and where the trucks used to park. And because they had easy access in and out, and they could park there for the night. Once the shopping center is built, then they looked for elsewhere, and they found this area up in the industrial area, and but access was difficult. And as all the other councillors and the mayor have said, the Department of Transport weren't too helpful along the way. But it's really good to see that they've changed their mind and they're paying. So this is great, and it will certainly, I'm sure, be helpful for the truckers that travel through our community.
Thank you. Councillor Ryan, you might as well make it a full count.
Well, I think it's wonderful, and I think what you said about the department is true. We've had wonderful cooperation from our local representatives, so maybe that'll be influencing the people in Victoria at the head office.
Great. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Great. We'll notify Mr. Takano very, very soon. That's the end of the business section. Any notice of motion? Hearing none. Into reports. We're looking to pay some bills. These are the balances in the following accounts. Amount to the general account, $2,864,559.90. Sunbowl in the amount of $22,194.55, and payroll accounts to be received of $145,526.54. Is there any comments on any of those? Hearing none, they will be adopted by consensus. And that brings us to the building permit report for the month of July 2011. Just not getting any building going on in this town, folks. Total for the month, $4,800. Total to date, 2011, $1,609,000. And the total to date for a year ago was $2,322,000. Slightly more than double in 2010, or slightly more than half from 2010 to 2011. Motion to receive, please. Councillor Ryan Cronmiller, all in favor, received. Bringing us to the CAO report, Mr. Zackel.
Thank you, Mayor Wells. So just to report on Barry's activities, from the CAO perspective, continue to work on issues related to purchase of the museum specific to new lease development. Attended Transportation's Regional Visioning Workshop for Highway 97. Met with transportation planners in relation to Highway 3 planning. Dealt with marina development issues. Worked on scoring projects for regional gas tax decision making. Worked on business planning process. Arranged for ministerial UBCM meetings. Dealt with ice allocation for Osoyoos Coyotes. Continue to work on Desert Park agreement. Work is proceeding with the Council Remuneration Committee to meet in September on my return from vacation, or on Barry's return from vacation. Community development, working on Economic Development Board terms of reference. Hosted 3 town businesses at Okanagan Wine Festival Society event at Watermark. Working with potential industry purchasing a lot at the Airport Industrial Park. Working on installing for sale signs on the 2 remaining lots at the park, giving them more visibility. Working with Home Hardware Building Center, reinstalling sign feature home of the Osoyoos Home Building Center. Working with John Martini, guest on TV Network, doing 1-minute video for 3 main resorts, which would include message from Mayor and promoting Osoyoos community, and run from September to April. Worked with WCS to complete Osoyoos ICSP with senior town staff. I don't know what those acronyms are.
Integrated Community Sustainability Plan.
Thank you very much. Assisted Community Futures in distributing a succession planning survey to town businesses. Election preparation, several human resource issues, including shortlisting for 2 relief recreational. Oh, pardon me, we're into corporate services. I apologize. So several HR issues, including shortlisting 2 relief recreational facility attendants, bylaw enforcement issues, trailer parking still appears to be leading issue, along with unsightly properties, new municipal ticket policy and procedures, draft RFP for towing storage of vehicles, catch up on regular duties after tax season, high number of walk-in/call inquiries. Recruitment process has been initiated for Deputy Corporate Services. Finance, ongoing review of accounts, catching up on backlog of items due to tax season. Set up pre-authorized payment plan for property taxes, with the first payment scheduled to come out August 10th, which had 171 properties now set up. Planning and development. Planning and development has been successful in being awarded $10,000 of CMHC seed funding grant monies for Phase 2 of the Southeast Meadowlark Implementation Project. Consultants will be retained to prepare a new intensive residential development zone and accompanying development permit guidelines. Planning and development has received 17 submissions in response to our invitation for expressions of interest to undertake a fire hall pre-design. 1 late submission was also received. Following the review with the fire chief, a short list of the most qualified architectural companies will be forwarded to council. Staff has completed the public participation process on the sign bylaw and will report results to council on September 6th, as well as propose a timetable for the public hearing and remaining bylaw readings. Public Works has been busy with everyday maintenance works. More people equals more garbage. more water and sewer flows, keeping the parks and beaches in good shape, to name a few. Parks crew members now working on weekends to keep up with the weekend flow. As far as capital works updates are as follows. The Sani dump is well underway with completion in approximately 2 weeks. Swan Crescent is now complete with additional overlay on Finch Crescent also complete. Torrey Pine streetlights are in place. New riding mower and trail utility vehicle have been received. Y fencing is up. The groundwater protection plan is ongoing. The following projects have been awarded and have gone out or have gone out to tender or will soon be tendered include the 340 reservoir and construction to start this fall with completion date of next spring. 74th to Curlew water main has been awarded. The 62nd, the golf course subdivision area sidewalk has been tendered, and that had closed this last week. 45th realignment still waiting for TELUS to complete their pole relocation. Fuji Spartan intersection will be tendered shortly. Personnel, John Laura is now Public Works' newest full-time employee. Derek and Nina Ruck are proud parents of a new baby boy, Brandon, brother to Liam and Marcus. And the Recreation Department. Painting the Sonora Center is well underway and is expected to be completed mid-August. Ring at Camp is running, and at the arena is at near full capacity from August 8th to 12th. We've got 69 participants that have registered. We are hosting the NCCP Level 1 course from September 16th to 17th this year. Introduction to completion part A with Pacific Sport. There's no charge for this course and it's open to the general public. Community Bus has been, or has a new delivery date of August 19th as there was a delay in getting a component installed. And the Audrey Bakewell Skating Camp is being held on August 15th through 18th. And to date, they have 33 participants registered. That's Barry's report.
Great, thank you. That will be received by consensus. Thank you. That takes us into Councillor's report, and the first one up is Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So last Saturday night was a pretty special night in Osoyoos. We had a wonderfully warm, sunny day on Saturday, and it kind of morphed into Saturday night at the Desert Center with the annual Romancing the Desert function up there. My first time attending, I'm a little embarrassed to admit that. I think this was their 12th or 13th year that they've been having them. My first trip there. Have been there many times, been on a few tours, getting very familiar with the place, but you know, every time you go there, you learn a little bit more about our very special area up there, which is kind of the northern tip of the Sonoran Desert, that most everybody knows about that. But you know, this event was absolutely wonderful to sit outside, and you know, all of our female attendees there dressed up in summer dresses and that kind of thing. It was just a great experience. Sitting outside at cloth-covered tables and you know, a little bit of a breeze, and topped off with a full moon that came up over the you know, the eastern skyline. It was just a very special night. Great food, lots to drink, good companionship with a lot of people, both local residents, out of town, Alberta, Saskatchewan, just really well attended. And, you know, I would be really remiss, I've used this councillor moment that we have at every council meeting to sometimes talk about our volunteers in our community, and I want to do that again. These types of events are impossible to happen if it was not for the volunteers up there, and you know, you just got to sit back and wonder why these folks do it. Sometimes I can't figure it out, but you know, it really does happen, and they get together and they put these things. I mean, this was a world-class event. Mayor Wells commented on it, on that particular aspect of it. And just so true, you know, it doesn't really happen anywhere else in our community. And if there is anything else close to it in any other community in North America, I can guarantee that the people are there are getting well paid for it. In our community, we put this event together with volunteers, and I'm not going to go down the list. If you're curious enough, the information is available on any of the brochures that were given out for it. Just a great event, and thank you very much to everybody that worked so hard to put it together on Saturday night.
Thank you, Councillor Rhodes. Well said, and again, heartfelt thanks to all those volunteers. Very, very special. Councillor Ryan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, I had the pleasure of being at the Romancing the Desert, and it was a wonderful event, wonderful evening, and I was thinking that it was so nice that it was on Saturday night instead of Sunday night, because Sunday night was not that pleasant. The Friends of the Library, I also want to extend the congratulations to them. They had a wonderful book sale on last Saturday, a week ago, the 6th of August, and they had a lot of people come, and they raised for library improvements and enhancements about $870. And sold a lot of books, recycled a lot of books that way, and made a lot of people happy, I think. And they've been working now for about 3 years. It's a small group, dedicated group. They're open for new members, and the nice thing is they don't have many meetings. They just work toward this one big event. They have provided the library with a weekend copy of the Globe and Mail each week. They've also provided a display stand for all kinds of newspapers. Whatever the library gets are in this nice stand. And also a display unit for children's activity kits. And altogether, in their 3 short years, they've probably helped with about $2,000 worth of enhancements at the library. So really good job there. I also was out this past Wednesday with the water quality group who were monitoring the lake water, and was able to join 3 of the regulars there, Danny Barr, Gary Sutton, and Dennis Potter. And I think I'm going to join them on a regular basis. They do a wonderful job, and it's really nice to sort of see the measuring equipment and to see where the oxygen is and how high it is, and when it gets down to these dead spots that we learned about in the science forum, and you know, the clarity of the water and so on. So it's a very good report, good work that they're doing, and of course they keep all sorts of very detailed reports and submit these to the Ministry of the Environment as well. There's a nice centerfold on the water quality, and especially on what the society and what they do on their lake monitoring in the Osoyoos Times from this past week, August the 10th. So I want to refer you to that if you haven't seen it. And I was listening, speaking of the Osoyoos Times, I was listening to the CBC just over the lunch hour, and they had an author there that was talking to a host, and he was talking about how he got his start. He has a novel that he's written, but he was saying if you want to be a journalist, work for a weekly newspaper, because he said you really learn the trade fast, because instead of being on a desk or have some beat at a big daily where you maybe write an article a day or something, you know, in a week you're writing 10, 15, 20 articles. So he produced to our hardworking reporters and editors at the Osoyoos Times. So I just want to say one last thing, and that is to congratulate BYLAWS for their wonderful salmon luncheon, and for doing it to benefit the Osoyoos Food Bank. And that was about a week ago, too. So that's my report.
Thanks, Councillor Ryan. Lost my marching papers after all that. Who's next?
Pick one.
Councillor Cronmiller.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was making a couple notes here and thinking about the things I might mention today. Certainly it's middle of summer in Osoyoos, and a time that we can all enjoy the weather, and we managed to see some nice hot weather for a change. And it's been a great time, so there's lots of people in town, and I was thinking that I wish that most of our city visitors would remember their city manners and leave them in the city. Remember that our town, when you come to visit, that we have village manners, and we should live by those instead of some of the road rage we see and some of the other antics that go on by our visitors when they come on vacation here. At any rate, I wanted to go on and mention the golf course and the golf course subdivision. I'm really pleased to see the tender that went out for the sidewalk up to the golf course subdivision and what it'll mean to that subdivision and becoming, I think, much more a part of the town with that connection, and also with the street lights that will make it much safer, and also improve the walking for the students that attend at the high school, whether from the golf course subdivision or from the rest of the community. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that come to fruition and completion this fall. But I also wanted to mention something that is probably near and dear to me because I live at the golf course and I play golf at the golf course as well. The use of golf carts on the roadways in that subdivision has been a controversial one over the past month and a half, and I think there's been some issues that have come to the forefront that have made it something that the RCMP are monitoring in a much more stringent manner than they have in the past. And I think that the people in that subdivision need to realize that the use of golf carts on the street is at their risk. And they're responsible for the actions, their own actions, if they choose to drive them on the road. And that they can be monitored by the RCMP and they can be subject to fines by the RCMP should they choose to do that. And the RCMP have assured me that they will continue to monitor the use of golf carts on the road up there, and that they will just make people aware of that situation and to use them at their discretion, not to abuse the ability to do that. And I think that's about all I'll say on it. I won't go too much further. I'll put my foot in it somewhere. But remember, use them safely if you do it. And that's my report.
Thanks, Councillor Cronmiller. Councillor Chadsey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just have a few things. I did attend the hike and bike opening last Thursday, I guess it was August the 4th. And it was great to see, and I think that we can all thank our Mayor Wells for nagging them until they just put it in, and similar to the ministry being nagged about that access off of 115th. So I think we've learned the lesson. Just keep at it. In the last week, and we've had a street dance, bluegrass, romancing the desert, and I believe tomorrow the curling bonspiel starts. And I wanted to say again, as I've said, and as Councillor Ryan alluded to earlier, every one of these doesn't happen unless you have volunteer people, unless you have people who are prepared to give their time and their energy. And further to that, all of the businesses in town and in the surrounding areas who give of their supplies, who, the bluegrass, we needed fans to keep the building cool, and Francis just said, oh, here, take these, and away you go. Like nothing seems to be too much of an effort for the people and the businesses in the community and surrounding areas. The street dance was our 25th year, and I enjoyed it. I just love going to it. The romancing the desert was great, and the amount of work that the people put in, and the huge list of businesses who supported it. The curling bonspiel, you know, where else? You go to the hottest town in the whole of Canada and you find ice for a curling bonspiel. And even though their teams are down, the unpaid members of the curling club are working hard to make sure everybody has a wonderful time. The bluegrass was a phenomenal success, and a lot of people put a lot of time and effort. So I can't say enough about the volunteer. I have just two more things to say. That yesterday I was in Kelowna, and I was nowhere near the ground. I was at the Easter Seal camp. But I did notice that gas is $1.19.9, which is 10 cents cheaper than here, and I really would like to know why. So if anybody has that answer, please give it to me. And finally, congratulations to John Lura for his employment, and to Derek and Nina and Liam and Marcus on their new brother. And that is my report.
Thanks, Councillor Chadsey. You only took about 3 items I was going to talk about. Again, congratulations to John Laura. Congratulations to Francis and that whole home hardware crew down there. That was their 25th anniversary of street dances in Osoyoos. And it won't be long before they're into their 3rd generation, I'm sure. I mean, there's mums there now that were there when they were 5 and 6 years old, and now they're there with 5 and 6 year old kiddies. So it's really, really neat to see that passing on. I went swimming yesterday in Osoyoos Lake, and I thought I'd go to the 2 new parks. So I went to the Regional District Park across from Brookvale first. What a wonderful park that is. The lake was great. There was a lot of local people having fun and enjoying that part of the lake. So I know that, you know, there's a business component to that isn't there anymore. But when the regional district got into looking at the park, they couldn't even they couldn't lease it out. They couldn't do what they have done for the last 15 or 20 years. It had a reverter clause in it, so when that all came to light, there really wasn't any decisions out there. And the park is a great addition to the town, and we'll just see that getting more and more used. So after that swim in wonderful Osoyoos Lake, then I went to the other new park. That's not a park yet, but I went to the Indigo property and had a swim there. What a great beach. That's over at the Inkenheap campsite as a neighbor, and you just walk forever out there. That storm was starting to kick up, and there was a north wind was blowing all the warm water off the lake. I swear it was about 85 or 90 degrees out there. It was just a great well, it's actually, I say, a walk, because you have to go a long ways before you get into some deep water. But what an addition that's going to be whenever we get that into a budgetary process and start doing some cleanup and things that are necessary over there. The Osoyoos Lake Water Science Forum is coming up, and I just received an email today, and I'll just read some of it. As a leader of the forum's budget subcommittees, I recently became a bit concerned about the low numbers of local resident registrations at this point in time. The low registration was likely a result of our advertised fee of $50. I also received one letter to the Osoyoos Board of Control expressing that the forum is, in part, effectively a public meeting of the Board of Control and thus should be free. This is relating to the relationship with the IJC. So in order to increase the number of local registrants, he's made a suggestion, and I'm a part of this committee, and Anna Warwick Sears and that, and we're going to further reduce the cost to attend this 3-day forum. So I have a handout here that I will present to the Osoyoos Times, and it's I don't want to read all the numbers out there because you can get it lost, but basically the welcoming reception on the Sunday night is free, but it's not a walk-in. You do have to register so we can do numbers. So you will have to register. That's free. The day 2, which is the Monday, that's $15 with lunch and breakfast. Day 3 only, that's $10 with breakfast and lunch. If you do the whole forum, which would be the reception and the Monday, and then the reception is Sunday at about 4 o'clock. If you do the whole forum, for residents of Osoyoos, Oroville, and Oliver, is $20. So if you want to go and have all the top science, anyone that goes to that should be privileged to attend. It's going to be the top science in Washington State and British Columbia, federal government. You're going to have the IJC meet there. I believe all the commissioners from the IJC are coming, which would be a first. It's going to be all about water, fish, Osoyoos, endocrine disruptors, all those things that you want to know about Osoyoos Lake and the health and the sustainability and the future of. For $20 for the reception, 2 breakfasts, and 2 great lunches catered by local restaurants. So I'll pass this off to Paul so he can get the information properly there. And that is my report, and I'm looking for a motion to adjourn. Councillor Cron, Miller, Chadsey, all in favor? We are adjourned. Have a great afternoon, folks, and